So first things first, this is this year's bucket of death. Deer flies are my nemesis. I cannot stand them. So a bucket that is blue or painted blue and covered in sticky bug stuff, every time I drive around the yard, deer fly, deer fly, deer fly, deer fly. Sorry, moth. Deer fly. Every deer fly you catch is, I don't know, what, hundreds, thousands of eggs that they don't get to lay. And by the end of this season, by the end of this summer, this bucket won't even look blue anymore. It'll just look like a pile of dead deer flies. Bucket of death. Driving around on the four-wheeler, I just leave that up there. Does wonders.
This is Blackwater Honey Forge, named in part after the Blackwater River we live near in central New Hampshire, and in part after the master craftsmanship of honeybees. This is a place for learning, discussion, and to practice the art of beekeeping. Welcome to the journey. Be well and forge on.
So heading into the Goose house here. Got something to show everyone. Look at that. So she had 4 eggs. The 4th egg went missing. I have no idea. This little gosling was hatched out this morning and doing well. And unfortunately there was another little gosling next to it that I don't know if the mom sat on or what. But unfortunately didn't make it. And I think mama's sitting on the other egg. But this is some pretty good stuff. So Mama Goose was successful at least with one little gosling who's perky and happy and healthy and standing upright and is super, super adorable. Say hi to everybody, Mama Goose. Make cute little goose noises. Hey everyone, Paul with Blackwater Honey Forge. I'm out here on a gorgeous Wednesday. It is June 17th. It's about 80 degrees out here in central New Hampshire. Beautiful sky that's kind of partly cloudy, but I get full sunshine at the moment, so I cannot complain. I'm out here in the apiary on a Wednesday where normally I wouldn't be. Normally I do most of my work out on the weekends, but I'm going to be away for a little bit, so I'm going to go through and check on all the splits today that I had done just about a month ago. Hopefully I'll be able to spot a bunch of queens, get a bunch of queens marked, but as I say in most of my videos, even if I don't find the queen, as long as I find the evidence of the queen, I'm more concerned about that and less concerned about a queen with a dot on her back. The other thing I'm going to do as well is, right behind me here is hive number 1. This is the hive that swarmed on me last week, and a viewer actually left a really good comment. They said, with that hive that swarmed and most of their brood was relegated to this bottom deep box, they were barely up into the medium brood chamber. Well, I still had the 2 honey supers on, and they were absolutely correct in their suggestion where they said, you really don't need that much cavity space on a hive that swarmed. Too much is not always a good thing. And I was so focused on doing other stuff that day that, you know what? Thank you very much for the comments, guys. This is what YouTube is all about. It's a collaborative effort, right? I'm happy to be out here and filming this stuff, but comments, and I've credited folks in the past as well. Comments can be very helpful, so thank you for that. Today I'm going to take off at least the top super, probably share that with the hive next to it that I did a combine on a couple of weeks ago, assuming that they're strong enough, and I bet that they are. I'm probably going to leave this medium super on, and what I'm actually going to do is take a couple of bait frames out of what I've been using as the brood chamber. Just make sure essentially that the queen isn't on it, and even if there's a little bit of eggs or larvae on some of those brood frames that I bring up and use as bait frames, I am well before I plan on harvesting. So in 3 weeks, those will be hatched out, they'll move down, and they'll just backfill those with nectar anyway. So I'm going to get to work. I got the smoker going, and I'll be more than happy to show anything of interest along the way. How was the baby goose? That was pretty cool. So hive number 2 here is just like I thought. I got wall-to-wall bees and all the frames. I just pulled the frame feeder out because I'm going to give the feed that's in there to a neighboring hive and a half. So I'm going to be putting a queen excluder on. I have a couple of random plastic queen excluders that I'm just using for the moment. And get that honey super that I took off of hive number 1 right onto here. So this is the hive right here that I actually used as my cell builder. This is the top honey super, and this puts a smile on my face. It's not capped or anything yet, but the bees are working it, and I don't know if you can tell, maybe I can catch the sunlight correctly, but they're packing the nectar in. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm actually going to move this box to the side. I'll move the camera down a little bit here, and let's check on the box underneath it. See if they're packing in even more nectar in that one. Not a ton of weight to that box yet. Move the frame as well. They got a little bit of nectar going on that frame. That one popped out with the top box. And just starting. So that's interesting that they're actually working the uppermost box first. Let's check one more. Man, I got that one in there nice. Yeah, also really light, but a good amount of bees on it. And they're starting. So that makes me happy. Definitely want some honey coming in. Took a big gamble this year with really kind of banking on increasing the numbers. And, you know, worrying about honey almost kind of secondary. So to get anything, I'm super stoked. So this is one of my split hives. I'm about to put a medium brood chamber on it. I just want to show you guys something that made me smile. The very first frame that I pulled out, other than one of these ones that's not drawn yet. Look at this. Can you see this? I'll bring it over to you. Brood all throughout the middle, larva on the edges. Let me show you the other side. See what I see? Supersedure cell as well, which I don't mind. This queen's doing great, but if they decide that they want to supersede after that split that I've done, then that's up to them. Next one, chock full of brood. And I already stopped checking. I didn't worry about finding the queen. With a brood pattern like that and a supersedure cell, I'm pretty stoked. So I took the bottom deep frame feeder out. Got everything all set in there. Gonna throw on the medium brood chamber. Fill that up with the remainder syrup from this. Then fill it up the rest of the way. Oh, made a mess. And fill it up the rest of the way with my sugar pump. So technically this is the first split that I've checked. But so far so good. Pretty stoked. Let's hope they all look like that. These two splits on the end are interesting right here. This box at the very end, very, very queen right. They're doing awesome. They have huge amounts of capped over brood. Everything looks really great. This hive that I've already checked, not doing so good. What I do see for spotty brood pattern in there is mostly drone cells. It's not all drone cells, but it mostly is. I have a hatched queen cell, but I can't find the queen. I also don't see really good evidence of eggs. So I'm going to make the executive decision to go ahead and combine these two hives. I'm going to check these frames one last time to make sure that there's nothing that I don't want to be putting up on here. I don't want charged swarm cells, for instance. If I do see a queen, I need to make sure that I check the frames again to see if there's a pile of eggs that I missed or whatnot. But I went through it twice, so I don't think that's going to be the case. But I'd really like to find out before I just throw a bunch of bees on top of a bunch of bees. So they're collecting good resources. I got a lot of nectar in here. They did release the queen cell as well. And I don't know, I'm probably too far away to show you, but there's a lot, or not a lot, but there's a little corner here of raised drone brood, not yet capped. Again on that side as well, raised drone brood. A lot of nectar, a lot of pollen. So they're not hurting on foragers, but they might be hurting on egg makers. Again, same thing, I have some larvae in here. I also have charged cell on the bottom. It's not truly on the bottom, but it is on the bottom of the frame. It's not. Oh, and do I have another one? Oh, it's the same one. No, I'm silly. There's one on each side. Let me see if that's charged as well. I'm losing daylight here too, so this is getting tough. It's got royal jelly in it. I can't tell how charged it is. And then the question is since I'm not seeing great evidence of a queen, are those actually swarm cells? Or are they supersedure cells that are on the bottom? Now the hive isn't roaring, and they're not fanning like crazy. They're not necessarily acting like they're queenless. They get a couple of queen cups on this. The frame's not all the way drawn though either. And then again here, just nothing great. And again, going through all these frames, I'm not seeing a queen either. So I think I'm gonna, and now they're starting to roar some too. They're fanning a lot. They are acting like they don't have a queen. So I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and pinch those 2 queen cells on the bottom. Well, there's more than 2. There's one over here as well. And that one has a lot of royal jelly in it. Oh, I'm so undecided. I know, right? Beekeepers aren't allowed to be undecided. I think I'm going to run an experiment. If I need to, I can always put this box up on top of here. But I want to see if they make a queen out of that. I still already have a queue on that frame as well. I want to see if they make a queen. I'm going to gamble a little bit with this one. I'm just going to throw a medium brood chamber up on here. Turn it into a hive and a half. Because either way, the hive next to me is really successful anyway. So they can either be successful as a hive and a half or successful as a double deep. Might as well just make a successful hive and a half and potentially a successful single or future hive and a half. So that was a fun moment of me making a decision on camera and then almost immediately reversing it. I really want to try to show off this queen here. I don't know if you can see her in there, but she's super dark and beautiful. A lot of my queens I actually have marked today, and most of them are very yellow, very Italian looking. This one, very, very dark. So it's interesting how I got the genetic diversity from the eggs that I grabbed. Hopefully you can see her in there. All right, so final tally. I did 21 either walk-away splits or splits with queen cells in them. And out of 21 splits that I did, I only had 1 that didn't take. And I combined that with another. Now I have another one that's questionable, but I talked about it earlier. I'm giving that one a second chance. It might end up a combine as well. But out of 21 splits, I only had 1 that didn't take. And even then, there was like some eggs in it, but it was so sparse and so underpopulated with a couple of eggs. If there was a queen, I couldn't find her. I checked 3 times. I'll take 20 out of 21 all day long and twice on Sunday. That is awesome. So my 2 swarms are going great as well. One of those already has a medium brood chamber on it. The other one wasn't big enough for that yet. A couple of my splits, as you might be able to tell behind me here, don't have the medium brood chambers on them yet. I really only need to wait for them to be 70 or 80% full before I give them that space. But everybody's got fresh feed on them as well, except for the ones that have supers on them, or honey supers, I should say. And yeah, the ones that do have honey supers on too, they're getting a little bit of stuff drawn and brought in. I love it. I cannot complain. This is a pretty good June for me so far. Even if I don't end up with a really good honey yield, I've ended up with a pretty good hive yield, so no complaints from me. Take care. Short video this week. Be well. Forge on. By the way, if you're wondering what my total hive count is now, like I said, I started this winter at 10 hives. I just did a full hive count. I'm at 32. So that's pretty cool. A couple more splits and I'd be closer towards 40, which is really kind of my comfort zone. That way I have some insurance hives. And I also just lost my J-hook, but while I was walking around counting hives, I literally stepped on it in the deep grass, so I found that as well. Good stuff.